Hey guys, it's Madison. Thanks for joining me in this faithful home. Welcome to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. I'm so excited you guys are here. A little bit about me. I am a Christian homemaker. My husband and I are living full-time in an RV at a ministry camp where we get to do life with our best friends, and I love DIYs, and I'm getting into gardening and homesteading. So if any of that interests you, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you feel welcomed into this faithful home with me. Today, I'm going to be sharing another Christian Wife Chat episode with you guys. And if you aren't familiar with my Christian Wife Chat series, I'll make sure to leave a playlist with all of them down in the description box below. Basically, I get to cover topics that pertain to being a Christian wife, or being a Christian homemaker, or I also talk about what it's like being a Christian friend, as well as personal experiences I have gone through. And that is the basis of this platform. That's why I started this channel. My mantra, if you will, is to share the gifts and talents that God has given me to motivate and inspire you. And that's what I truly feel passionate and called to on this channel. I love getting to share all of the fun vlogs and DIY projects and cleaning and decorating videos and all that kind of sorts. But at the end of the day, getting to share my faith to you guys, getting to share my experiences with you guys, and basically being a little mentor for you just fires me up and gives me so much passion, and it's why I continue doing this channel. So for today's video, I want to talk about the topic of money and finances as it pertains to a Christ-centered household. This is a topic that I think is largely important, but also not talked about a lot when it comes to a Christian household. And there's so much that you can unpack over it, and I may make multiple videos on this topic, but I kind of wanted to do an overview and kind of intro to this. If you guys enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up so that way I know I can continue making this topic. But yeah, let's talk about money. I know it's kind of like taboo to talk about money online. People don't like it. People are kind of shying away from it. You don't want to talk about your personal finances or how you guys handle that. But you know what? I'm an open book on this channel, and if you've been here long enough, you know that. So when it comes to our money, my husband David and I, which we have been married 2 years now, which is incredible, we have never fought about money. I'm honestly, like, when I was planning for this video, I was trying to think of a time when we actually fought about finances, and I can't come up with it. I also don't think David and I have really fought much about anything ever. We've had our differences and we've discussed them, but never like yelling and screaming at each other fighting. That's a tangent. I'm sorry. That's another video in the making. But when it comes to money, we set up a system and a plan from the very beginning that works for us, and we've held true to it, and I think it's pretty amazing. Before I tell you guys what we do that is so important when it comes to handling our money, I want to share this verse in the Bible about money. It's in Timothy 6:10. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." And you may say, and you may want to argue, that money can do so many good things. Yes, that is true. God gave us money and the ability to use it to bless others. He even calls us to give to others with our first fruits. Yes, he does. There can be glory in these things, but there also can be very much sin. And when you are so fixated on the dollar value and having the most money and coveting and hoarding, that's when you're going to be sinning. That's when it's not going to be a healthy relationship. But when you choose to look at your money as not your own, and you look at your money as God's money that he has given to you for this time, and he can take it away as much as he's given it to you, then it's so much easier to be able to have it and use it and budget it and enjoy it and get to bless other people with it. And that's what David and I do. We don't look at this money as it's ours, this is mine, I'm trying to hoard it as much as possible. We look at it as this is a gift that God has given us, and we are so thankful for it. And how can we use that to then pour into other people's lives as well? One thing I will say that is very important if you are centered in Christ is that you combine your money together when you get married. So that'll be the first thing I talk about, combining your money when you get married. And I know this is a very controversial topic, much like a lot of things that I talk about on this channel, but combining your money when you get married is very, very important because of a few things. One, it shows trust between you and your husband. It shows that trust between the two of you that says, this is not mine, this is now ours. When we come together as one, we come together with all of our things, with all of our ups, with all of our downs, with all of our emotions, with all of our time and with all of our money. I think that is something that is very important that David and I did, is combining our money when we got married. We actually, before we got married, when we were engaged, we each opened up a checking account in our name, but we did it at the same bank so that we knew when we got married we can join them together. So now how we have it set up, and we will refer to it as like my account and his account, they're together. All of our money is together. But basically, when you look at our bank account, we have 2 checking accounts and 1 savings account. The first checking account on the list is David's that he set up before we got married. So his money from work goes direct deposit into that account. And then the second one on the list is mine that I set up before we were married that is now combined together. And this is where I get all of my direct deposits from pay. So all of my earnings go into this account, all of his go into the first account, but both of our names when we got married signed over to each other, so we both have access to those accounts. And then once we did get married, we opened a savings account together, and so that is joined together with our savings. We only have one of those because we didn't have savings accounts before we got married. Basically, what I love about this is we can at any time open up our bank feed and look at what we have together in a clean and concise format. All of our money is in this, well, we have money in another account. I'll get to that in a sec. But all of our money here is in this account. How we kind of try to do things is we tend to spend from the top account. We use the middle account for major payments, so our truck and our RV payment, which are the only debts that we currently have, which I'll get to. And then the bottom is the savings that obviously at the end of the month, we can go look and put money in the savings. And so I think that's a really great way that we've formatted it. Like I mentioned, we also have another bank account that is separate. It's one that we both have access to, but we don't really look or touch. It's kind of like a forced savings account in our eyes, which is really nice to have. So it is at a completely different bank. It's actually at a very small local one here that we really enjoy those people. So we didn't want to completely take our money out of their account. We wanted to have some with them as well, and also with a larger scale bank for convenience purposes. I think it's great how we set it up. I put in like $100 a paycheck goes directly to that account. I think he also puts $100 a paycheck directly to that account. We don't have online access, though I'm pretty sure we could get it. And then basically it's just a forced savings. We look over here on this account and see what we can kind of budget off of and how we can live. And I think that is a really good thing to consider when you guys are setting up your bank accounts, is to have kind of a separate savings that you are conjoined with together. We both have access to, but it's kind of separate away from this side. The second thing I want to talk about is when we ask each other if we can make a purchase. And when it comes to sharing our finances, David and I talked about from the very beginning that mine is yours and yours is mine. That means we make decisions together. And at the end of the day, I'm going to submit to David as a leader of this house. And if he feels very strongly and has prayed about something for a major purchase, and we have discussed it, talked about it, prayed about it, I'm going to let him ultimately make that decision. But when it comes to smaller things like buying maybe a new gadget that we want, the way we handle it and the way that has worked for us for the past 2 years is that we set our limit to anything over $100 roughly. Aside from like groceries and stuff, because I spend more than $100 on groceries, which maybe I should work on. I digress. When it comes to us wanting to buy something, if it's over $100, we talk to the other person about it, say, hey, this is something that I want to buy. It's about $150. Are you okay with me buying it? And basically 10 times out of 10, the other person says, yeah, of course, I appreciate you asking me. Yes, go ahead and buy it. And it's not that I need David's permission, okay? I don't need him to tell me yes or no. I desire for him to be a part of that, because it is not just about me. It's about me, it's about him, and it's about our relationship together. And so that's why we make sure that we ask each other about our finances and anything over roughly $100. The next thing I want to talk about is tithing. So tithing in the Bible is discussed all throughout in the Old and New Testament. And here in Genesis 14:19-20, it says, and he blessed him and said, blessed be Abram by God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And Abraham gave him 1/10 of everything. This is when Abram had just returned from defeating the armies, and he had gathered up his possessions back, and he chose to then give 1/10 of what he had back to the Lord. And then we go down to Genesis 28:20-22. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and clothing to wear, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God, and the stone which I have set on a pillar, and of all that you give me money, I will give a full tenth to you. So in Jacob's dream of his provision from God, in exchange for that, he is giving a tenth back to him. And basically the importance of this is giving your first fruits back to the church, back to the Lord. It's showing a dedication to what you have, and it's showing that this is not mine. I understand that this is the Lord's. Traditionally speaking, it would be taking out a tenth of your paycheck at the beginning of the month, giving your first fruits. I will not say that we're perfect. Let's be clear and honest. We don't have an automated system for it at church, so it's not something that we can just take out. Sundays are hard for me because I work, so sometimes I don't make it to church. And it's something that David and I have discussed about, and while we don't remember to do it maybe every Sunday, we do make sure it's a priority to tithe our money back to the church in various ways. In monetary donations back to the church in our tithe. We also want to make sure that we are using our money to bless other people within the church. So another way we tithe is when we know that someone needs something in our church, or there's someone out there in the community that needs something, we like to give in that way as well, making sure that we have the understanding that this is not our money, like I talked about from the very beginning. This is the Lord's money, and we are giving back in that way. When we do that, when we have that understanding that this money is not ours, it makes it a whole lot easier to budget and to have like kind of a more relaxed way of looking about it, because it's not ours in the beginning. The next thing I want to say is that the responsibility of handling the money does not have to be the husband's job. I personally love math and I love numbers, and so I like to make sure that everything is budgeted. And that's something that David and I also talked about when we got married, is who is going to handle the finances. That's something that I do. That's something that David and I sit down with probably about once a quarter and kind of go over and make sure that we're kind of keeping on track with that. But basically, I set up a spreadsheet for us. I did it in Excel. I made an Excel spreadsheet of all of the things that have to come out, right? So currently, because we are full-time RV living, our major expenses first is our truck payment, then our RV payment, then groceries, vehicle insurance. I think that's it. I think that's all the automated ones. Yeah, those are our expenses. We don't have a house payment. We don't have a mortgage. We don't have an electricity bill or water bill or anything. We're very blessed and fortunate to be able to live at this ministry camp and volunteer our time in trade for being here. So that's not one of our expenses. But basically, I set up a list on Excel of our different finances, how much money automatically comes out each month. So for our truck and our RV payment, even though our truck payment and RV payment can be really low, we have chosen to pay a little bit more on it. And so I put that in our spreadsheet of what we are paying each month on it, what automatically comes out, what we have in tithe, then what we have remaining. And when we have the remaining, we choose to look at it at how I do it is at the end of the month. I'll kind of look like after we got paid, after our bills come out, after everything kind of is settled, I'll look and I'll move money into our savings. And that's how we choose to set up our finances. And David loves that I made this spreadsheet. That's something that we both have access to. We have one computer, so we can look at it whenever we want to, and it just kind of keeps us in check. I think what's important about it is that it's not rigid, and I'm very thankful and I'm very blessed to say this, but it is not this, this, and this, and you only have this. It's very loose, and I actually like that. I prefer that because that leaves room for us to be able to buy something that we've been saving up for. Maybe on the top of our list right now is a few new power tools that we want and would really benefit us for out here and the projects that we have coming up. And so that's something that, you know, we are very loosely looking at. Okay, we have been saving this much. We have this much in savings now. This is something that we want to get. We both talked about it. It is over that $100 threshold. So that is something that we talked about together. David and I agreed not to make a rash purchase on it. We're not going to go out like today and buy it. We are going to wait and see if maybe there will be a sale for it and then go from there. But it is something that we talked about and we know that's on the top of our list. And I think with how we have it set up and how we view our money in general is why we don't argue about it. And I think that's very healthy for our relationship. Another thing I'll say is that we don't go beyond our means. And I had already mentioned that we don't have a house payment and everything. And so that's great. We can live below our means, but we just moved into this RV full time. We were part-timing as we were in the apartment, transitioning. And so before that, we lived in a house, then we lived in an apartment. So we obviously had a mortgage and then a rent payment. And we made sure that we lived within our means. friends. We went out to eat. Yes, we enjoy doing that. We like going and doing social things with our friends. We love that. But we also make sure that we are not racking up credit card bills. And so that's the next topic I'm going to talk about is credit cards. We each have one credit card. We have limits set on them, and then we pay it off every single month. So we make sure to kind of loosely track what we are spending on the credit card. And then that way at the end of the month, we pay it off in full and we do not accrue any debt in credit cards. Mine is actually mostly just used for groceries. That's what I tend to use it for. I actually started my first credit card out as a grocery card, and I had such a mindset that I could only use it for groceries because that's what I told myself, that I wanted to use it at Target for something else and was like, I don't know if they'll allow this, and then realized that like 22-year-old me had a credit card that I thought was only good at Kroger. It's all about mindset, guys. But that really helps us. We have one credit card each. We are not opposed to it. We have debt in our truck and our RV. We are not opposed to having some debt, but it's how we manage it. We make sure to pay more on our debt and we pay off our credit cards on time. All right, the last thing I want to say about this topic and wrapping it up for today's video is don't stress about your finances. Don't argue with your husband about it, guys. It is not worth the argument. Come together, pray about it, seek after the Lord, give it to the Lord, and have the understanding that this is not my money. This is God's. He can give it and He can take it away. And when you look at it with that mindset, it makes it a whole lot easier to balance your finances. And I understand that some people are in harder positions, and I know that, and I am not downgrading that. If you are having to live paycheck to paycheck, if you only have one paycheck, if you're currently unemployed and not having money right now for whatever reason, just know that just giving it to the Lord in all of your ways is going to bring you so much peace. Whether you have $10 or $10,000 in your bank account, doesn't matter to the Lord what you have. All that matters to Him is how you treat it. So when you treat it as the Lord's, He will bless you. I'm not saying He will bless you monetarily the next day, but He will bless you with the assurance of Him, with the peace of Him, and with the comfort of Him. And that is so much more valuable than a $20 bill. I feel like I could go a lot more in depth in a lot of these different topics within this video. That was kind of just an overview for you guys. And I have a lot more thoughts on money and finances as well. So if you guys want to see any of those videos, make sure to leave those ideas down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up because that does help out my channel with the analytics. YouTube likes seeing you guys interact with me, and I do too. I mean, I'm human. I like when people like my videos, not gonna lie. So thank you guys so much for making it to the end. I really do appreciate you guys. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you feel welcomed into this faithful home with me. I post videos every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, so I'll check back with you guys next week for another video. Bye, guys.